everybody. Welcome back to the Primas Podcast. I am Cindy. Hey.
Hi, Prima.
And that's Jessica, Prima Jess.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again.
Yes. So we have a good one because I was looking at the viewership, Prima, and the ones with food justice have the lowest viewership.
Oh, you like did a statistic like
I did a PowerPoint
scattered chart,
Yes.
chart, and it showed.
And I was like, whoa, it's kind of declined.
It dips.
I'm not even playing.
The slope of this. Yeah. Oh no, Prima. I love our food justice ones. I wonder what it is.
I just don't think it might be a little boring. I think it is to a lot of people, and I'm always talking about it, so I'm always like, stop talking about it so much. Like I never, I don't want to be that person when someone starts talking about food where I'm like, like I've learned to just be like, yeah, just drink water, man. Yeah, no, that's the best. Like just don't even engage. Because I'm trying to make the topic fun, but it's like not hard, not easy. So yeah. With that said, we have a banger. So this is a part of our Food Justice series. And we are going to talk about food advertisement and just the psychology behind branding as it relates to food. And then some stuff to look out for. Like we're going to go through some label reading, very basic, but as part of the solutions is to just be more informed.
Awesome. Are we going to talk about the video you sent to me, or how are we going to start that? How are we going to pitch that video?
I like how Jessica's practicing when warming up now as we already started. Like, wait, is it fine if
Is it cool if I reference that video?
Yes, you can reference it. I have I see a lot of different things, but I thought that one was cool because Nike, like I'm into Nike, and then you're into Apple.
I know, yeah. I was gonna say those were subliminal messages, like jabs at the Apple product. Like when they were talking about it, Cindy sent me like a short video clip. I have it here. Do you mind if I reference it? Please hold.
No, Jessica.
It's top secret on YouTube.
I'll do some ASMR fingers in the meantime.
Okay. Cindy shared with me the video how Apple and Nike have branded your brain. This got me at Apple because I am a huge Apple like product. The only thing I don't have Apple is my laptop. I just don't like their laptops. But like I'm always making these jokes about Cindy and I because she has an Android and I'm always trying to convert her. And I'm like, dude, just simplify our lives so we can FaceTime each other whenever we want. And this little 5-minute clip showed how I'm brainwashed by Apple. So thank you, Prima, for pointing that out to me.
Yeah, we all are, because like I said, I'm the other big brand on there. And it's so embarrassing when I do put my workout clothes on, because I'll have like my Nike hat, and it's just like, why is the logo everywhere? It's so embarrassing. Like I hate it. And I try to mix it up, but that's most of my workout gear. So yeah. So what was the biggest shock to you? Or like, what did you learn? Like, how did that, because it's like, it was like 5 minutes, but it was telling, right, of our behavior as consumers.
Yeah. What really stood out was studies they had ran. They had experimented on where they gave people Apple products. I think it was a laptop and an IBM, and that people who had the Apple products did significantly better than the IBM. I don't know, like it's just that prestigious, like, oh, I'm going to do better. I can focus better. Or like, I don't like the psychology behind it is just like trippy to me. So they just kind of like briefed on that. And also that like we're constantly being directed into things that we own, subconsciously. And that's also because I like to say I have control of everything I do, but then when they say things like that, it's like big brother, like how much are they controlling me, and I have like 10% control of my life, where I think it's larger, but in reality, it's not. So I think those two things stood out to me.
Yeah, that's a good question to start off with too, with this topic is like, what brands are you loyal to? Like, think about it, because we're all so unique, right? Like for you, it's Apple. For me, it's just like, as soon as that became a trend, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna go into that one because that's just, I don't know. But it's not just Apple. Apple's just really good, and they're very expensive, and they're just great at brainwashing. Just like Coca-Cola, Nike. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say Apple's really good at keeping us there. You know what I mean? Like I've been an Apple consumer since I bought my phone. So imagine I've been a loyal customer for over 15 years. And you know, like their tactics of like keeping us coming back and buying their products, like the wireless headphones, which I haven't purchased, or like now they changed the USB. It's no longer like a USB outlet. It's something else. So now we have to go purchase that little like adapter to connect it to like the wall outlet. And I'm just like, you know, you would think we would stop at some point, but they keep us coming back. And it's just like, it's fine. It's Apple. Like, I'm going to do it.
Yes. And what you just mentioned, when you say you were a 15-year customer, the reason why I got so into food advertisement is because they target to little kids. They get them while they're young. And that's just the best way to hook someone, right? Is to be like, especially with eye products, that whole bandwagon, or there's many, like sports is also a big one where they compete against like they use people against each other just to make money. It's like, yeah, let them, who cares? Let them buy all these things, right? Like let them spend all this money. But Apple, what they do is they make their product very exclusive, like psychologically speaking. They try to separate you because you're buying that prestige. This is not just any product. This is Apple. So it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like it's very exclusive. And for me, I think that's one of the reasons why it turned me off. Because I'm like, no, I need adaptability. I need to be able to function more practically. I'm a minimalist. I can't, like, I get that. The psychology trick behind that, it's just like, yeah, because no one will ever. There's this comedian on YouTube called Long Beach Griffey, and he does a lot back in the day. These are old videos where he's talking about, and he's an Apple product user, whatever, and he's like pretending he's Steve Jobs and like just these people speaking at the Apple things, and he's just like, this time we added this thing, and this time it cost this much, and people are like, yeah. It's like we did nothing different, but we're calling this something different, and we're adding this feature. Doesn't change anything. It doesn't even make necessarily the phone better, but they know that the customers are so loyal that they'll buy it. It doesn't matter because they're not buying even the product. They're buying the brand, the prestige, the exclusivity. And that's why I love the psychology behind branding and marketing, because like you said, I didn't know. I was hooked on it. And me too. I'm like, why don't I just work out in like whatever clothes? Why does it have to be Nike? And in my head, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm like, but it's sweat proof and I sweat a lot. But I don't know. I don't know if there's you know what I mean? Yeah. Like if it's really that serious.
You're like low-key subliminal, like subconsciously like marketing for them. Like
100%.
Yeah.
We're walking out.
That's what we're doing. Yeah. And then another thing I liked is how they said, like, we identify so much, you know, and like if we attack the product, like it's like an attack on our character. And I was like, oh, I do that to you all the time. Also, when you're like, Apple sucks. And I'm like, Cindy, shut the hell up. Like, you know, like I immediately get defensive. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. People will fight.
And I was like, whoa.
The other branding psychology that does that a lot is with sports fans. Like when I see people, because I don't like the whole business behind sports, you know, like if you know, and you're like, I don't care, this is my entertainment, whatever, if you understand, but when you really get into it and you dislike someone or get into fights, I'm like, you're not making any money off of this situation. Yeah. You're going to jail. We've all been there.
You're referencing the Raider game again, a low blow job.
No, but that's common, right? For people to go into jail after because they get drunk. Like, I don't know, that whole thing, the whole culture. I'm like, people fighting, like random people, like the players don't know you. They will never know you. They're just taking your money and you're over here defending it. Like, how do you connect? How they're so passionate. And yeah. And so we do it with other things too, right? Like you said, like, I get embarrassed, to rock the Nike symbol because just Nike doesn't have a good rep in other countries. And same thing with food. In other countries that are more disadvantaged and they're more like flexible with different like food laws or advertisement laws, these big marketers like in Coca-Cola, sugar companies, Domino's, right? Like these big giant food people, they'll go into those places just like sweatshops were legal in different parts of Asia. I'm sure they still are. And you know what I mean? So they're producing like cheap labor and they're using kids and they're like super abusive. And so same thing for food laws. And so, for example, in India, Coca-Cola and KFC and Domino's are able to, they don't offer water, for example. Their levels of sugar, fat, and salt are like 3 times higher than they are here because it's just more flexible over there.
They're not regulated.
They're not regulated. Here. Yeah. So that's another thing is like when you look at food or at branding and marketing globally, you can compare and contrast like, there's like this. You can compare and contrast like, damn, well, Coca-Cola is only behaving this way in the United States because these are the rules. And the United States is also pretty flexible. Like high fructose corn syrup is legal here, but it isn't in a lot of European countries because they know it's a toxin. And there's this really cool YouTube documentary called Global Junk Food, How the Western Food Industry is Making Poor Countries Fat. And so they're talking about India and Brazil, and then they really get in there, and it's like McDonald's, like the clown, they'll go into like the preschools and like the kindergarteners and just, they're like, it's fine. And then the kids are like, oh, well, I want McDonald's now. And, or they'll like, give sponsorships or scholarships to kids in high schools. And then everybody at the events, and then they don't, they're like, oh, because you guys participated, we're going to build you a gym. And everyone's like, yay, Coca-Cola saved us. So they get deeper in other countries. But they compare in that documentary, the poor countries and then European countries. And so it says, in Europe, food manufacturers have signed up to responsibly pledge, promising no added sugar, preservatives, artificial colors or flavors, and not to target children. So Europe is like standing up to these big corporations and saying, no, we don't want our kids consuming this stuff. Where in poor countries, there's an easier leverage. Like, hey, if you let us come in, we'll freaking give you some money. I don't know. I'm sure it's more complicated than that. But that's basically like
the politics.
Like, whatever. Yeah. Do what you got to do. McDonald's or Starbucks or Walmart or Amazon, whatever. The big brand, the big corp.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that.
So,
but yeah, let's jump into the food advertising.
Okay. So, study of brain activity shows that food commercials influence children's food choices. So when I say commercials, it's any type of advertisement. So it can be on social media, it can be on YouTube. Obviously, like when my daughter's watching the phone, it starts to cater to, okay, this is a kid, right? And so the commercials are kid related, or advertisements, at the movies, any, but buses or even like brand connection. Like my daughter was loyal to McDonald's by the age of like 2 or 3. Like she understood, she knew why, because McDonald's gives you toys and they give you sugar, And so,
that is true. Melody doesn't know Burger King. She doesn't know Jack in the Box. She doesn't know any of that. She only knows like, oh, if we're going to go eat, she's like, we're going to go get a Happy Meal.
Yeah.
Happy Meal is McDonald's.
So your daughter is a loyal customer, and it's going to be more likely that she sticks to those behaviors, or it's going to just be harder, right? As we age, it gets harder. And so that's why it's important to study the psychology behind food advertisement, is because they target kids. And I get so, I connect to the subject a lot about drugs, like illegal drugs, and food advertisement, or just the food industry in the United States, because it's like, well, cocaine is illegal, and meth and heroin, right? Like these things are crazy. And I'm not saying that they're not hardcore substances that can make life difficult. But what I'm saying is they do the same thing with food, and we're okay with it. And that's why it's not that we're okay with it. We don't know.
It's perspective. Yeah. We've altered our perspective to think like, yeah, drugs and DARE program is bad because those are gateway drugs. But you said it's like the same thing. How is this, when they're not on the opposite ends of the spectrum, they're actually on the same end, but how is this viewed okay and this is viewed negatively?
And the other connection with drugs is that when the Western culture, like the United States, is so influential in other countries. And here, if high fructose corn syrup is an artificial sweetener that was cheaper to produce, so they're using that instead of regular cane sugar now, right? And so that's like what's on the streets right now, fentanyl. So why is fentanyl popular?
It's the same thing, like you just said, it's cheaper to make and it gets people higher for a longer period of time.
It's more accessible, right? It's cheaper, it's easier, everything about that. So all of this artificial food that all of these artificial ingredients, they'll mix them in with real properties, but then there's also these things that are not meant for us to consume. And again, because it's not a street drug, we don't judge it, but it'll make us gain weight. Gaining weight will cause a lot of different issues. We'll also have heart issues, like different heart disease. And our food impacts our hormones. It impacts our behavior, our personality, our energy levels. It's just a different
chemically
substance.
Yeah, it's chemically doing the same thing to our mind, like making us addicted to it, just like the fentanyl. Like you're saying, what's the difference? When it's doing all these terrible things to our body, it's not an enhancement, it's not beneficial in any way. So yeah, it goes back to perspective.
Yeah,
that is a good point though. I don't even view sugar like that.
and sugar is in everything, and they target kids, and it's like, would you sell crack cocaine to a child? Because that's what you're doing. McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Kellogg's, Hershey's. I mean, the list goes on.
For the shoot, like the Capri Suns juices,
Yeah.
all those.
And it does the same thing in our brain that crack cocaine does. And crack cocaine is broken. Well, it's they add baking powder or baking soda, and then that's how they cut it to make that last. So they're adding. So it's like the same shit. So yeah. So I just wanted to make that comparison, because it's like, but we'll put people in jail and we judge them and they're in the streets and you get drug tested, right? You can't get a job, but it's like, but you can get a job if you're drinking alcohol and consuming sugar, which is, it's the same amount as damaging. And now when you're introducing that to a child, it just grinds my gears. But yeah.
I know.
So advertising explores the art of influencing human behavior to make certain purchase decisions. So advertisement, there's a lot of billions of dollars invested in different companies' marketing part, because it's effective. And like you said, we don't even know it. We don't, because it's not like, for us, it's not going to be a commercial, right? Or the sound of a bag of chips or the colors. For us, it's a little different. So I found that humans' emotions are targeted. So children, for example, what motivates like their marketing is fun and happiness. With teens, it's popular and cool. So whether it's food, clothes, whatever it is, it's going to use those themes. For adults, it's sexy imagery or chic and relaxing places. And the best motivator of all is humor. And so these companies invest money in saying like, hey, this product is for kids. Figure it out. What's going to entice them? What's going to have them pulling at their parents at the store and saying, Mom, 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 I want that.
Yeah. And it's so crazy you made that connection, because I remember in school, we did a whole not study, but like a whole topic on emotions and commercials. And I remember like it was the semester of the Super Bowl. So like, how much money do people invest in the commercials of the Super Bowl? Like, if you can market there, you're golden. You're gonna sell your product. And then so my professor like brought up a bunch of commercials, and we didn't know what they were, and there was one about this puppy. Even I started to cry, like get emotional. And it was about tires. And I'm like, why was this puppy here?
You're like, why am I ever crying over some tires? Yeah.
And then there was like another one of like women empowerment. And these little girls. Oh, I think we talked about it. The tampon commercial where they're like, oh, throw like a girl. And it was a Tampax commercial. Tampax.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, fuck, that made me like another emotion. Like, I felt like empowerment. I'm like, yeah, I am a female. And, like, let's not dive into like a tampon right now. But you're right about that connection, that correlation. And half of those are humorous. I could think about the Doritos one, like right off memory. There was one in the Super Bowl where they were eating Doritos, and then like the guy left his hand out and his coworker like licked his finger. And I remember thinking like, that was so hilarious while eating a bag of Doritos.
You're like Coca-Cola chug, Doritos dip, your Disneyland, and
for like no reason.
Your Raiders jersey, everyone. Yeah, we're definitely. So, yes, human emotions. That's the whole idea. We're weak individuals, right? We've established that when we talk about in our different episodes where we're talking about we have to get a hold of our emotions. In this case, they absolutely target that because so human emotions are targeted. We associate brands with positive feelings and good vibes.
Can you hear the helicopter?
Well, I wouldn't hear it here, huh? No, I don't.
Good.
But everyone else probably did. Sorry about that, guys. Fundraising for Jessica to
get out of the hood.
Get her out of the hood. Okay. So we associate brands with positive feelings and good vibes. So again, it's not necessarily the color, right? For us as adults, like we don't care to be cool and popular, but we do care to feel accomplished. We do care to belong and to feel self-fulfillment. So those are the three things that they use to kind of motivate and to connect. So like you said, it's like there's this puppy and then all of a sudden tires. Or it's just like, there's this motivational thing where I'm like, I'm going to be a better parent, and it's just like Tampax. You're like, what? I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is, you're going to remember, you're going to associate the brand, whether you use it or not. Chances are now you can make that assumption based off of all of the planning and psychology that went into making this 30-second, they're less than a minute. They're less than a minute. And we're like,
yeah.
We're so touched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're very powerful, right? Wouldn't you agree?
I definitely agree. It wasn't until that class where I was like, oh shit, like how am I so invested in this, like, couple of second commercial?
And earlier when you mentioned about like how you're a loyal brand to Apple, it says we form emotional attachments with brands. And so it doesn't even have to do with the product anymore, because I saw this one thing that said a car is just a car that gets you from point A to point B, but yet we know that there's a difference between, right, like a Honda Civic and a Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
Or shoes. Shoes are just shoes. But why do we prefer to, spend all this money on this brand shoe versus like a off-brand shoe? And so that type of thing, right, where it's just like because our emotions are invested, it's no longer even about it. We're so tied into the consumer mindset that we're doing things that you won't even find a connection. Like,
Correct.
why are you into that? And then when you start thinking about it, like, oh shit, it's because of this, something totally unrelated. But now
It's
you
like
have
the
brand
video.
loyalty.
Yeah, it's like the video you sent me. They say that like that brand becomes our identity. And that's why we get so attached to it, because it's like, well, this is who I am. This is what it makes me. And this is what I like stand for, essentially. And so when we start targeting it, it's like, well, you're not attacking the brand, which has nothing to do with us. Like you said, we don't make money off of it. There's nothing there but our attachment to it, that emotion. And it becomes part of who we are, essentially.
Yes. Good. I have one more thing, and then I'll get into. We'll do a little bit of food labels. I got as much as I could, and then solutions. This is a quick one. Okay, so get them while they're young is like a huge one that Coca-Cola uses, McDonald's. Think huge corporations. Children are most receptive to marketing messages. Their brains are like sponges, ready to soak up all information they receive. Marketers use this vulnerable time to develop brand imprinting. So the brand imprinting is the process of encoding a particular brand in our brains memory network through repeated brand name exposure. And branding loyalty can begin as early as 2 years old. So you have a customer at 2 years old, pretty much made it. With regards to food marketing, it extends beyond brand association. So they're not using that anymore, because I think they know at least a little bit that the consumers starting to look a little bit deeper. We're becoming more picky. And so now there's different areas where we still get attacked. Like food portions in the United States have grown, or packaging. Like soda cups, like a medium or a small, almost like in any fast food place, is what used to be like a large. And it's because, well, it's high fructose corn syrup and carbonated water. It's cheap. We take it. Like we don't care, And so the other thing is that they'll go so deep into the psychology that they'll get together with car manufacturers. And that's what they did when they started to design the size of the cup. It was so that it can fit in most glove thingies, in your
cup holders.
Cup holders. So it had to be a friendly cup size. There's just so much that goes into making finger foods for kids. Like that's huge. That wasn't a coincidence. I was like, oh, well, perfect. This is how we can do it. Just, through a window. They don't have to get out of the car. It's easy. The menu is glowing and beautiful, and the kids get a toy. Yeah. So some of the solutions, though, let's talk solutions. I don't want to scare you guys. It's okay. You do have power over this. First of all, whenever you go grocery shopping, don't go on an empty stomach, or plan your meals ahead. If you're going to be out, you're going to get hungry, and it's just going to be so tempting to stop by McDonald's. And so it's always better to plan. Okay.
Ooh, I wonder if location matters. I'm sure it does, because right next to my grocery store is a McDonald's.
Yeah, of course. Location definitely matters. Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's like, I don't know if you've heard when they say like McDonald's or like fast food restaurants and liquor stores are always kind of grouped together. And it's, where are these places? They're in places where low it's like minority, low income.
Yeah, so, low economic status or something, right?
Yeah. And it's because they're targeting our behavior. They're targeting poor communities because we have less resources. We're going to know less about certain things, especially when it comes to our food. So we're the most vulnerable, and they just kind of go in for the kill. It's business. It's consumerism. You don't matter. Money does. Okay. So this is supposed to be healthy. This is from Sprouts. And I just wanted to show like what we're talking about when this is targeted towards kids. Why? Why do you think?
Because of the label, the color.
The colors, and then there's a cute little leopard or whatever that is. Like, And then, so on the side, you will, this is the boring black and white part, but this is very important. And then this is very important, ingredients. So I think the biggest thing for me is like to always look at them and then start having your family look at them. Even if they're little, say, find this word or find this number. They're not going to understand what's going on, but I think that's one thing that I did with my niece when she came, and we were looking at like shampoos, because you can see the ingredients in the shampoos. And so, she was looking at it and I'm like, just, what does it say? And she's like, I have no idea. Exactly. Why can't you pronounce that?
Yeah.
So here, I just want to point out all of the products that I have sugar. Okay. So obviously cereal. And so there's brown rice flour is the first main ingredient. Then there's corn flour, and then there's cane sugar. And then the ingredients are in order of, this one's the mostest to the leastest. I don't know if that's a word. And then total added sugars per 1 cup is 4%.
So that's pretty low compared to other things I've seen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but the thing with this, it's like brown rice flour, corn flour, these are all carbs. So that's sugar. That's already sugar. Added sugars is, now we're going to add, flavoring and added sugars. And so this is just sugar. Cereal is it's junk food. And it has a long shelf life, meaning that they added even more sugar as a preservative. So that's a tricky one with carbs. So let me go through carbs. So this you would say is healthy, right?
Is that wheat bread?
Yeah. This one?
Yeah.
Oro wheat?
Yes.
And it says 100% wheat, and it's brown, and it's kind of like boring. So that's going to target like the healthy people, right? Not. So again, this is already bread. So this is going to convert into sugar in your body. So when you look at the ingredients, it says whole wheat flour, water, bulgur wheat, and sugar. And then the added sugars is 6 grams. So 6% of this product, actually of one slice, has sugar in it. Most bread.
And most people have 2.
So again, these are just like, start practicing, start getting into the habit. No matter what kind of bread you eat, just look at it and then compare it to other ones. You'll also find that like white bread is the worst. So if you compare that to something that looks healthy, you might get the same numbers because they did a good job with advertisement. And they're like, oh, well, this bread is brown. They just added food coloring. So there's that. And then this is another last carb. So Cheez-Its, this is really bad. This is our junk food, you guys. So this has 0 added sugars. But what I wanted to point out was that this is for 30 or 27 crackers. So a lot of the time we think, oh, this is how much this item contains. Wait, you're frozen. Can you see me?
Boxes. I can.
Okay. Yeah, so it's enriched flour. So again, get comfortable with the ingredients, and then this, and then just compare them, like, and then the ones that the nutrients that you want to watch out for are fat content, sugar, and salt. You just want to get lower options. Fat, like if it's peanut butter, it's going to be super high in fat, so that's a given. But if it's like high in that and it's high in sugar, like Jif, that's not the best.
Oh yeah.
Butter. These are targeted. These are like healthy, right? These are like, it's better than a Snickers. And so again, and then the front says all kinds of promising things. It says 5 super grains, 100% whole grains, 20 grams per bar, gluten-free. So it's like, oh, okay, this is a good choice. And then when you go back in the ingredients, the first ingredient is oats. The second one is cane sugar. So most of this product is sugar. Same with this one. The first ingredient is whole grains oats. The second one is sugar. And then later there's honey, brown sugar syrup. So there's 3 different types of sugars in here. Smarties, these are just vitamins. But so in the ingredients, it says organic cane sugar, organic tapioca syrup. Those are the 2 first ingredients. And these are vitamins. These are the expensive kind.
Dang.
And like, why would you put sugar, in that? These are like the little organic thingies. So ingredients, organic, or no, I don't want to read this because it doesn't say sugar, but fruit, when it's mashed up like that, it's sugar. It's high in sugar. So total added sugars, 12 grams. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Wow. I could.
So this product, has 12 grams of sugar. And it's so little. It's not even like the bigger, Okay. Do you know what's in this? Do you know what ingredients are in here?
It's an orange.
Or one ingredient. Good job, Jess. What about this one?
Fiber.
Good.
And
no, it's
sugar.
An apple, but it's very high in fiber with the peeling on.
Yeah, I was just gonna say with the peeling.
Sometimes we take it off, and then now it's just sugar. You'll get some vitamins and minerals, but you're gonna miss out on the fiber. Okay, sorry. So some things that you think might not have sugar. Oh, who is this targeted for? A child. So here, total added sugars. Okay, never mind. It doesn't, it's not honest because it doesn't say that it has sugar, but dairy milk does have sugar. So they kept that out, right? But this is just like the branding. I wanted to show you like the marketing slogans. Ketchup, we all know that there's sugar in here, right?
Yeah, we know that's not real tomatoes.
Okay, and it says 6% of 1 tablespoon is sugar. So added sugars is 4 grams. So just these are the things that we want to start practicing. This is supposedly healthy. Oat milk, you think you're doing something good, but then there's 7 grams of added sugar. So 14% of 1 cup has sugar. Dairy, it doesn't matter what sugar it is too. Like we need to start looking at sugar the same way because in our body, it kind of does the same stuff. So, because a lot of people will be like, but what about this? What about that? And it's just like, try to eat the healthier sugar possible.
I like when one time when we were talking about this, you said people usually, or because right, you do food justice, used to make people's food, or give them menu options. One thing that stood out was people are like, well, I don't eat sweets or I don't eat sugar. And then that'll like, you're like, whoa, let's break that down, right? So it's not necessarily the junk food like candies or sweets, right? It's like you're talking about sugars in all of our foods. Because, which I think, like I'm not, I just, when I see milk, I associate that with dairy. I don't think sugar. I don't think that's sweet. You know what I mean? Like that's not the connection or connotation we're making. And like you just brought the bread. I also think whole grains when I'm eating that. I don't think, oh, let me look at the sugar content.
Yeah. So, yeah. We just think that sugar is in candy and like different things, but it's in everything. Because again, it's used as a preservative and it's highly addicting. So if someone's looking at you as a consumer, they don't care if you get addicted. That's the goal, is that you get addicted by any means necessary. Exactly. That's why I compare it a lot to like illegal drugs. It's like, okay. So this has 12 grams of sugar per cup. And this is 1% low-fat milk. So you're thinking, oh, I'm doing the right decision, right? No, you're not. Just kidding. But like, yeah. And then you would think almond milk, right, would have like a better rep. But no, there is 7 grams of added sugar. So less, but there's still sugar. And most of our food is already going to be converted into sugar. So we do need sugar in our bodies, but we have a problem because it's addicting and refined, where we create addictions and now we like sugar in everything. And so one good way to look at it when we think of dairy is that if my daughter drinks milk and she goes to sleep, that's going to mess up her teeth at night. We're prone to cavities, and she does have mess because when she was a baby, like I never thought, you know, like, oh, sugar's going to mess up, or milk is going to mess up her teeth, because why would they put sugar in milk? Or milk has natural, like dairy has natural sugar, but like formula, for example, they add a lot of different types of like corn solids, which are sugar based. So yeah. So the solutions I would say is get everyone reading product labels, even if it's not food, because it's not fun, but the more you start doing it, the better it becomes.
I like that. And mine is just being more mindful, you know, like I'm still in the beginning stages of learning all this stuff, and we're not saying don't do all this. We're just saying being more conscious of like the things you're putting in your body, you know? And I say this all the time, we're not getting any younger, and I'm feeling aches and body aches and pains and things like that. And I think it goes back to me not taking care of myself. And the root of that is like the things that I'm consuming, you know? Like when I was talking about my transition into veganism, I used to view food as like almost pleasurable, you know, and I don't want to view it. I need to change my perspective, which is not going to be easy, but I want to see food as medicine, or I want to start seeing food as like gas that I'm putting into my body for longevity, you know? And this is all really good stuff, because you're right, Big Brother doesn't care about us. We're just a number to them.
Yes. When you think about consumerism, this was just some tips on how big corporations use our emotions against us. Because if we have a relationship with food, which a lot of us have a bad relationship with food, it's almost designed that way, because it's like, great, they're addicted to this, and it's going to keep them coming back for more. And so just know that you can have more power over your behavior. If you want a product, get whatever you want, but be informed about the decision you're making so that it's the best one possible.
I like it. Yeah. Well said, Prima. Thanks for hanging in, guys. I hope we still have everyone who tuned in.
Yeah.
I feel bad about that statistic, bro. You brought it down.
It's food justice.
I know. Great topic.
Okay, you guys. So let us know what you thought of this topic. For those of you who leave comments, thank you so much. It means the world, whether they're good or bad. We don't get a lot of feedback. And if we do, it's from the same few people. So when we do get feedback, even if it is from the same few people, it means a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, follow us on Instagram, and we hope you enjoyed this food justice series. And yeah, bye.
Bye.